Nearly 30 million hydroxychloroquine pills.
Hydroxychloroquine is credited with saving lives.
A friend of mine told me he got better because of the use of that drug.
Hydroxychloroquine seems to be working. I don't know medicine from cosmology, all right? But the fact of the matter is it's working.
I actually haven't heard a bad story, you want to know the truth. You know, normally you'd hear some good ones, some bad ones, and you'd still give it a shot. I haven't heard a bad story.
Beginning in the middle of March, hydroxychloroquine was mentioned hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times on the Fox News channel, particularly by its primetime hosts, and by the president from the White House podium. Until about a week ago, when those mentions by Fox News and by the president just dropped off a cliff. They just stopped bringing it up. And we don't know why that is. But yesterday, we did get the results of a new study, which is yet to be peer-reviewed, but is the largest to date involving the use of hydroxychloroquine among 368 veterans in veterans hospitals across the U.S. In that trial, the drug was found to have no benefit, and there were actually more deaths reported among those who were given that drug than those who were given standard care. The authors of the study said, quote, "These findings highlight the importance of awaiting the results of ongoing prospective randomized controlled studies before widespread adoption of these drugs." Yeah, you think? When the president was asked about that study last night, he said, quote, "I don't know of the report. Obviously, there have been some very good reports, and perhaps this one is not a good report." The National Institutes of Health panel has also now weighed in on hydroxychloroquine, saying that was, quote, "insufficient clinical data to recommend either for or against it." And late today, the New York Times was first to report that a high-ranking doctor who led the HHS efforts to try to develop a coronavirus vaccine, he was transferred out of that position this week and demoted after he internally questioned the president's advocacy of that drug. Dr. Rick Bright tells the Times, quote, "I believe this transfer was in response to my insistence that the government invest the billions of dollars allocated by Congress into safe and scientifically vetted solutions, and not in drugs that lack scientific merit." He continued, quote, "Specifically, and contrary to misguided directives, I limited the broad use of chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine promoted by the administration as a panacea, but which clearly lacks scientific merit." That doctor is now no longer in charge of the search for a vaccine to save us from the deadly coronavirus, because he says he was demoted when he got in the way of the president continuing to hype an unproven cure that he heard about on the Fox News channel. It is one thing to not have leadership at the federal level in response to this crisis. It is actually a whole nother thing to have the president putting American lives at risk every time he blurts something made up or that he thought he understood from TV into the microphone at the White House briefing room. And that really is happening every day. I mean, as a general, I don't have an opinion one way or the other about this president and how he should be treated. I'll lie and say that right here. I'm lying. I'm telling you, I won't tell you my opinion one way or the other about the president and how he should be treated. But as a general matter, I think we should all agree that there perhaps should be a more concerted effort to stop the spread of misinformation about this disease, particularly if it is potentially deadly misinformation. If somebody is repeatedly misinforming the American public about important things having to do with this disease, don't broadcast that. Don't listen to people who are lying to you about this disease. Don't broadcast their comments. Certainly don't keep doing it day after day when they've proven themselves to be lying day after day. And honestly, it doesn't matter who it is. Show some responsibility, honestly.